Continuing with the Christian-iconography study, I wanted to create a different kind of saint or a new class of saint. And I was studying Hippasus of Metapontum, and his story is kind of interesting, and I think he could be considered a scientific saint. As an artist, you should be familiar with the golden ratio. It is a pattern that is seen all over the place in nature, most famously in the spiral packing pattern in sunflower seeds. It's a known pattern that can make compositions more pleasing to the eye. The concept of it brings up an interesting dichotomy between the artist's way of thinking, the right side of the brain, and the logical left side of the brain. Call it a metaphor, the literal neuroscience is messier than folk version of this. Conceptually, it is a pattern. It exists, and its existence is intuitive in the sense that we've seen it everywhere since we were born in this place. As humans, we've developed two modes of communication. Each is more suited to a particular side of the brain. Text-based language, we use this system in many cases to try to describe our experiences to each other. Text is a medium. It's not capable of describing anything with perfect accuracy. We largely don't use it for this purpose. Instead, we invoke properties of a particular thing by sameness or difference for comparison, or we try to invoke emotions or other particular feelings by sharing metaphorical descriptions that fit: a pit in your stomach, walking on a cloud, words that evoke imagery while evoking the feeling. They're not able to ever quite capture that thing. It could be said that we accept the ambiguity of text. It operates as a feature of the system. Text-based language could be said to have a positive or creating polarity. Mathematics, our second language. It's concerned with quite the opposite. It is the language we use to capture the material things in the world. We can count all of our fingers and toes, and we know that they belong to us. Likewise, this applies to any physical piece of property that we possess. This, in some sense, provides us with a certain amount of security. We can find solace in knowing exactly how many beans we have, and we can measure when we need more, so we won't starve. Side note, it's said that a key Pythagorean taboo was the bean, perhaps rooted in the deep-seated aversion of being called a bean counter. The bean was banned from their cult. In this way, we use mathematics to be as precise as possible, believing that it will provide a deeper understanding of the world. Its feature is its accuracy in describing the things in the world. Mathematics in this way could be said to have a negative or reductive polarity. Here I've added shading to the palm frond. The palm frond is a commonly used attribute for saints, symbolizing victory over sin and death. This brings me to Hippasus of Metapontum, a Greek philosopher and early follower of Pythagoras. The most popular version of his story states that he, quote-unquote, discovered irrational numbers. It is told that the Pythagoreans had developed a numerical framework they believed described the world in mathematics completely. As you can imagine, with such claims you will garner many followers who believe you will help them unlock the secrets of the universe. They believe that the entire world could be measured in terms of rational numbers. In essence, that the cosmos could be described in perfect squares or perfect cubes. It is said that Hippasus attempted to find the ratio of the square's diagonal to its side, and this produced an irrational result. And the cult didn't like him very much for that, and they couldn't accept the truth that he'd uncovered, so they drowned him for his revolutionary discovery. Here I've added a millstone around Hippasus' neck. I chose this because it's a common attribute for saints who are drowned, but also it makes sense because it's actually a wheel, and he was kind of drowned for pie or a wheel. This story illustrates the ignorance of religion when faced with contrary scientific evidence. The trouble with this story is, there's no way it could be true. I thought, you mean to tell me they calculated the entire natural world could be measured in terms of the square, yet they never took the time to calculate the ratio of that same sacred square's diagonal? It seems false simply on its face. A key primitive in their system would have to have been tested thoroughly. Scholars have made the same argument. The classic deconstruction says the discovery likely came not through the square at all, but through the pentagram, the cult's own sacred emblem. Those diagonals hide the golden ratio. The number we started with was sitting inside their badge the whole time. As it turns out, there are in fact two versions of this story. The alternative version of the story is that the Pythagoreans were basically a mystery cult. A key aspect of a mystery cult is that they have mysteries. Most tellings say that Hippasus exposed the coveted secret, how to construct the dodecahedron. The dodecahedron requires irrational numbers in order to construct it. So it disproves the cosmos can be defined by perfect squares or perfect cubes. Now I'm setting up a pentagonal halo for Hippasus. Given that the Pythagorean cult used the pentagram as their symbol, it's appropriate that he would have a pentagonal halo. Perhaps Hippasus was showing off without realizing the cult had already knew the golden ratio, a coveted secret that they were holding. Or perhaps it was some sort of attempted power move within the cult. Either way, it's said that he was drowned for divulging the secret of the irrational number, not for discovering irrational numbers. The popular notion that Hippasus discovered irrational numbers creates an unwarranted form of bias towards mathematics and science. It does this in a way that seems to appeal to those who would view science and mathematics as the ultimate good in the world. Let's take the theory and presume that it is true, that Hippasus did upturn the cult member Dogma through a more rigorous inspection of their key primitives. Conceptually, is it true to say that he discovered irrational numbers? When the first person who created numbers 1 through 10 to quantify their fingers, did they discover the numbers 1 through 10? I'd lean toward the answer of this question being no. Artists likely knew long before Pythagoras that arranging elements in a visual composition causes the eyes to move. This is a pattern that's already existing in nature. So even the artist is either picking up on it without knowing it or is using it with full knowledge. With the language of math, we can describe this motion that the eye has as a never-ending number. But even so, seeing the number never end with every new calculation and observing that your eye never settles in the golden ratio is effectively the same thing. Neither can fully capture what's really going on. For the artist, the ratio adds to the expression, while in mathematics it seems to be concerned with capturing the reason or something. It's a fitting detail that mathematics itself ranks the golden ratio as the most irrational number of all, the one whose digits resist settling harder than any other numbers. The number that refuses hardest to be captured is the very one that the artists reach for when they want the eye to never rest. Both polarities complete the circuit of creation and perception. Dogma comes from thinking that any language can provide the answers to the cosmos, artistically or mathematically.